Welcome to today's story, a journey that starts with love and adventure, but leads to unexpected heartbreak, resilience, and the power of renewal. When Olivia, an American graphic designer, visits Dubai for her cousin's wedding, she finds herself captivated by a new world, and by Amir, a kind-hearted man who opens her eyes to a life filled with possibility. Just as Olivia embraces a future with Amir, tragedy strikes, leaving her in a world turned upside down. As Olivia faces her deepest loss, she's confronted with a shocking revelation and a choice: to be pulled under by grief or to rise and build something beautiful in Amir's memory. With each step, she discovers that healing isn't just about moving forward. It's about honoring the love that shaped her and embracing the life still ahead. If stories of resilience, hope, and love overcoming loss inspire you, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel for more moving stories, and share your thoughts in the comments. Would you have the strength to start over after losing everything? Join us as we follow Olivia's journey from heartbreak to a life renewed. Let's dive into the story. Olivia Miller stared out of the airplane window, marveling at the shifting landscape below. The sprawling desert stretched endlessly, a golden sea under the sun, broken only by the sudden rise of a glittering city on the horizon. Dubai seemed to rise from the sand itself, a shimmering oasis of skyscrapers and palm-lined streets. The sight filled her with both excitement and trepidation. This wasn't Seattle. This was an entirely different world. As the plane touched down, Olivia took a deep breath. She'd spent years in Seattle working, waiting, and always wondering if there was something more. This trip was supposed to be a new beginning, a chance to explore beyond the edges of the life she had grown used to. She was here to celebrate her cousin Kate's wedding, but part of her hoped the journey would be an escape from her daily life and from Ethan, her boyfriend, whose apathy had left her feeling hollow. The heat hit her the moment she stepped off the plane. The air was thick and warm, wrapping around her like a heavy blanket. As she made her way through the airport, she felt both out of place and strangely invigorated. The Dubai airport was filled with travelers from every corner of the world, their voices creating a constant hum that echoed off the polished floors. Just past customs, she spotted Kate, her cousin, waving enthusiastically. Kate's smile was wide, her eyes bright as she hurried forward and embraced Olivia. "You're finally here," Kate exclaimed, pulling her into a hug. "I can't believe you're actually in Dubai. You're going to love it." Olivia smiled, letting Kate's enthusiasm wash over her. "It's amazing already," she said, glancing around. "I feel like I've just stepped into another world." Kate laughed, a sound that was full of warmth and excitement. "Oh, you haven't seen anything yet. Wait until you see the city at night. It's magical. And you're just in time to meet everyone before the wedding." As they headed out of the airport, Olivia couldn't help but feel a thrill of anticipation. She wasn't just here for Kate's wedding. She was here for herself, for the chance to see what else life could be. The drive through Dubai was surreal. Olivia leaned against the window, watching as the city unfolded before her. Towering skyscrapers gleamed in the sunlight, their glass facades reflecting the desert sky. Alongside them were elegant hotels, lush green parks, and streets lined with designer boutiques. It was a world of contrasts, where tradition met modernity at every turn. Kate was talking about the wedding plans as they drove, describing every detail in excited bursts. "The venue is this beautiful hotel overlooking the water," she said. "It's going to be like something out of a storybook." Olivia nodded, half listening, her mind racing with everything she was seeing. She felt as though she were in a dream, one where each sight was more vibrant, more alive than anything she had ever known. Their first stop was Kate's favorite cafe, a small place tucked away in one of the quieter neighborhoods. The cafe was filled with the scent of spices and freshly brewed coffee, and its walls were lined with intricate tiles that caught the light, creating a warm, welcoming glow. As they sat down, Kate leaned forward with a conspiratorial smile. "I've been waiting to introduce you to everyone," she said, her eyes gleaming. "You're going to meet some amazing people here." Olivia smiled, though her heart gave a small flutter. She hadn't told Kate about the growing distance between her and Ethan, about the emptiness she had felt in their relationship. This was her escape, her chance to breathe again, if only for a little while. The day of the wedding arrived in a whirl of activity and excitement. Olivia had spent the morning helping Kate with last-minute preparations, but as the afternoon approached, she found herself in awe of the opulence around her. The wedding was set in a grand hall, draped in fabrics of gold and silver that sparkled under the chandeliers. Olivia felt out of place, but enchanted by the beauty of it all. As she took her seat, a man's voice from nearby caught her attention. She looked up and saw a stranger approaching her, a man with dark, expressive eyes and a warm, open smile. His name, she learned, was Amir, a cousin of Kate's groom, and as they exchanged introductions, Olivia felt an immediate connection that she hadn't felt in years. Amir's English was perfect, though laced with a soft accent that Olivia found captivating. He asked her about her life back home, about Seattle, about her work as a graphic designer. Their conversation flowed easily, as though they were old friends rather than strangers meeting for the first time. "I'm surprised to hear you're a designer," Amir said with a smile. "There's a creativity in you, I can tell. Dubai has a lot to offer someone with your kind of vision." Olivia blushed slightly, caught off guard by his insight. "Thank you," she replied, a warmth spreading through her. "I suppose I just needed a change, a new perspective, maybe." They continued talking, sharing stories of their lives, their passions, and their dreams. For the first time in a long while, Olivia felt seen, as though Amir understood something about her that she hadn't been able to put into words herself. As the wedding celebrations continued around them, Olivia found herself drawn to Amir's presence. He was attentive, thoughtful, and curious about the world, qualities that reminded her of all the things she had been missing in her relationship with Ethan. The day after the wedding, Amir invited Olivia to join him on a tour of the city. They visited hidden spots in Dubai that only a local would know: small art galleries, quiet beaches, and bustling markets where merchants sold spices, jewelry, and fabrics that shimmered in the sunlight. In the afternoon, they drove out to the desert, where the landscape changed from the city's skyscrapers to endless dunes stretching as far as the eye could see. The desert felt alive, a vast, silent space that carried an energy unlike anything Olivia had ever felt. They stood together, watching as the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of pink and orange. "It's beautiful, isn't it?" Amir said, his voice barely more than a whisper. Olivia nodded, feeling the peace of the desert settle into her. "It's breathtaking," she murmured. She felt a deep connection to the landscape, as though the stillness of the desert was a reflection of her own heart, waiting for something new to awaken. They talked as the sun dipped below the horizon, sharing thoughts on life, love, and purpose. Amir told her of his love for poetry, for philosophy, for the stories that connected their cultures and histories. His words were like a balm, soothing the restlessness she had carried with her from Seattle. In that quiet, expansive space, Olivia realized that she was beginning to feel something she hadn't felt in years: a sense of belonging, of being understood. She didn't know what this connection with Amir would lead to, but for the first time, she felt that her life could be more than she had allowed herself to imagine. The following days passed like a dream. Amir and Olivia spent every moment together, discovering new parts of the city, sharing laughter, and building a bond that felt as natural as breathing. They visited markets, strolled along the beach, and wandered through the old city, where the streets twisted and turned in a maze of colors, sounds, and scents. But with each passing day, Olivia felt a growing sense of unease. She knew she couldn't stay in Dubai forever, and her feelings for Amir were intensifying. She thought about Ethan, the life she had left behind, and the quiet dissatisfaction that had grown between them. One evening, as they walked along a quiet stretch of beach, Amir turned to her, his gaze soft and searching. "I know you'll have to go back to Seattle soon," he said, his voice steady. "But I don't want you to feel like this is goodbye." Olivia's heart tightened, the words catching in her throat. She hadn't told him about Ethan, hadn't shared the complicated feelings that held her back. She looked at him, wanting to tell him everything, but afraid of what it might mean. "I don't want it to be goodbye either," she said finally, her voice barely a whisper. They stood in silence, the waves lapping at their feet, each of them knowing that the days they had together were limited. Olivia felt torn between the life she had known and the life she was beginning to dream of, a life where she could be free, where she could truly be herself. The following days flew by in a blur of vivid experiences and gentle moments that Olivia shared with Amir. They explored the bustling souks, where merchants called out in melodic voices, enticing them with spices, fabrics, and jewelry as colorful as the city itself. Every sight, every scent was new, vibrant, and alive. She felt intoxicated by Dubai's energy, but it was Amir's presence that made it feel so special. One evening, after a long day wandering through the historic district, Amir took her to a rooftop cafe overlooking the city. The lights of Dubai twinkled below, the buildings shining like beacons in the night. Olivia looked out over the view, her heart swelling with a bittersweet ache. She was a visitor here, drawn into a world that was both enchanting and temporary. Amir watched her, his gaze gentle but searching. "You seem deep in thought," he murmured, leaning closer. Olivia smiled faintly, tracing the rim of her coffee cup with her finger. "It's hard to explain," she said, her voice soft. "This place is so different from my life back home. I feel like I'm seeing myself from the outside, seeing what my life could be." Amir nodded, his eyes never leaving her. "Sometimes we need distance to see what truly matters," he said thoughtfully. "When you go back, you might find things look different." The words lingered in the air between them, and Olivia felt a surge of sadness at the thought of leaving. She knew she couldn't stay here indefinitely. Her life back in Seattle awaited, tethering her to responsibilities and routines she hadn't questioned until now. The day before she was set to fly back to Seattle, Olivia woke up feeling a heaviness in her chest. Her time with Amir had opened her eyes, making her realize just how stagnant her life back home had become. She couldn't stop thinking about Ethan, the quiet resentment in his voice whenever she mentioned her creative dreams, the way he dismissed her love for travel as a phase. For years, she had pushed down her feelings, convincing herself that she was content. But now, with Amir's kindness and attention fresh in her mind, she couldn't ignore her dissatisfaction any longer. She spent the day with Kate, her cousin, who was busy with post-wedding festivities and settling into her new life. In a rare quiet moment, Kate pulled Olivia aside, her gaze both curious and concerned. "You seem different," Kate said, studying Olivia. "I feel like I haven't seen you this alive in years. You're glowing." Olivia smiled, trying to keep her voice light. "I've just been enjoying myself," she said. "Dubai has a way of making you feel like anything is possible." Kate gave her a knowing look. "And Amir has nothing to do with it?" she teased gently. Olivia laughed, but the sound held a note of melancholy. "I'm not sure what to think," she admitted. "I feel like I'm at a crossroads and I don't know which path to take." Kate placed a hand on her shoulder, squeezing gently. "You have to follow what makes you happy, Olivia," she said softly. "Life is too short to settle for anything less." The words settled into Olivia's heart, echoing long after she left Kate's side. That night, she lay awake in her hotel room, staring at the ceiling as thoughts of Amir and Ethan collided in her mind. She felt pulled in two directions, each choice fraught with uncertainty. But one thing was clear. She couldn't keep living a life that no longer felt like her own. The morning of her departure was bright and clear, the Dubai skyline a stunning contrast against the vast desert. Amir had offered to drive her to the airport, and as they rode in silence, Olivia struggled to find the right words. She wanted to tell him how much their time together had meant to her, how he had shown her a part of herself she had long buried. But the words caught in her throat, weighted by the knowledge that this might be their last moment together. At the airport, they stood facing each other, the noise of travelers a distant hum around them. Amir's gaze was steady, filled with an unspoken understanding that both comforted and unsettled her. "Olivia," he said softly, reaching for her hand, "I want you to remember something, no matter where life takes you." She looked up at him, her heart pounding. "What is it?" He smiled, a hint of sadness in his eyes. "Happiness is worth pursuing, even if it means letting go of what you thought you wanted," he said. "I hope you find what you're looking for." The words struck a chord deep within her, resonating with the longing she had tried to ignore. They embraced, a silent exchange of feelings that needed no words. As she pulled away, Olivia felt a pang of regret, but also a strange sense of peace. She knew that this wasn't the end, it was the beginning of a new chapter, one that would change her life in ways she couldn't yet imagine. As she boarded the plane, she looked out the window, watching as the city she had come to love faded into the distance. The memories of Dubai, of Amir, would stay with her, a reminder that life could be bigger, brighter, and more beautiful than she had dared to dream. Returning to Seattle was like stepping back into a world that was both familiar and foreign. The gray skies, the steady rain, the crowded streets, they all felt muted compared to the vibrant colors and warmth of Dubai. Olivia moved through her days in a daze, feeling as though part of her had been left behind in the desert, buried beneath the sands. Ethan was waiting for her at the airport, his expression a mixture of relief and mild annoyance. He greeted her with a quick hug, but as they rode back to their apartment, he barely asked about her trip. Instead, he talked about work, about the things he had missed while she was away, as though her journey had been a minor inconvenience. That evening, as they sat in silence, Olivia felt a chasm opening between them, wider than ever before. She wanted to share her experiences with him, to tell him about the beauty of Dubai, about Amir and the dreams he had rekindled in her. But every time she tried, Ethan's disinterest cut her off, leaving her feeling small and unseen. One night, after an argument over something trivial, Ethan made a passing comment that shook her to the core. "I don't get why you're so obsessed with Dubai," he said, his tone dismissive. "It's just a place. It's not like it's going to change anything." The words stung, echoing in her mind long after he left the room. She realized that Dubai had changed her in ways Ethan could never understand. And in that moment, she knew she couldn't go back to the life they had shared. She wanted more than this, more than the complacency and apathy that had defined her relationship for so long. Days turned into weeks, each one a reminder of the life Olivia was no longer satisfied with. She went through the motions, working, spending time with friends, but everything felt muted compared to the vibrant memories of her time in Dubai. Every night, she lay awake, her thoughts drifting back to Amir, to the moments they had shared, to the possibilities that had opened up in her heart. Then, one evening, her phone buzzed with a video call from Kate. Her cousin's face appeared on the screen, her eyes bright with excitement. "Olivia," Kate said, her voice filled with warmth. "I have the most wonderful news. I'm pregnant." Olivia's heart swelled with happiness for her cousin. "Kate, that's amazing. I'm so happy for you." Kate laughed, her joy contagious. "Thank you. And I'd love it if you could come back to Dubai to visit. It would mean so much to have you here. Besides," she added with a playful smile, "Amir has been asking about you. He misses you." The mention of Amir sent a thrill through Olivia, followed by a pang of longing. She hadn't allowed herself to think about him, to let her heart dwell on the connection they had shared. But Kate's invitation felt like a door opening, a chance to confront the feelings she had tried to ignore. After a moment's hesitation, Olivia nodded. "I'd love to come back," she said, her voice soft but steady. "I think it's time I returned." As she hung up, Olivia felt a spark of excitement, a sense of purpose she hadn't felt in weeks. She knew that this trip would force her to face her feelings, to confront the choice between her past and the life she had glimpsed with Amir. But for the first time, she felt ready, knowing that whatever lay ahead, she would find the courage to follow her heart. The days leading up to Olivia's flight to Dubai were filled with quiet anticipation. She told Ethan about her plans only a day before her departure, but his reaction was as indifferent as she had expected. "Off to the desert again?" he said, not looking up from his phone. "Hope you're not getting too used to that kind of life." His comment stung, but Olivia brushed it off. In a way, his apathy made her decision easier. She packed her suitcase with an unexpected sense of purpose, filling it with clothes that felt like part of a new version of herself, one she was just beginning to discover. On the day of her departure, Olivia felt a mixture of nerves and excitement. She wasn't certain what awaited her in Dubai, but she knew that this trip would allow her to confront her feelings, her doubts, and the future she wanted to create. The plane ride felt different this time. as if she were traveling towards something rather than simply escaping. She watched the landscape below, feeling her heart beat faster as the desert came into view, stretching across the horizon like a warm embrace. When the plane touched down, Olivia was greeted by the familiar heat, the bustling sounds of the airport, and the sight of Kate waiting for her face glowing with happiness. "Olivia!" Kate exclaimed, pulling her into a hug. "It's so good to see you. I've missed you so much." Olivia smiled, feeling a wave of warmth and gratitude. "I've missed you too, Kate," she replied, squeezing her cousin tightly. "It's good to be back." The days that followed were filled with family gatherings, shared meals, and long conversations with Kate. Olivia found herself slipping easily back into the rhythm of Dubai, a city that felt like both a dream and a home she hadn't realized she was longing for. One evening, Kate invited Olivia to join a small family dinner at her house, a quiet celebration to welcome Olivia back and to share the joy of Kate's pregnancy. As Olivia entered the cozy living room, she spotted Amir talking with a group of relatives. Her heart skipped a beat as their eyes met, his warm smile reaching her across the room. He made his way toward her, his expression filled with a quiet joy that made her heart ache in the best way. "Olivia," he said, his voice soft. "It's good to see you again." They spent the evening catching up, sharing stories about the weeks they had spent apart, and slowly rekindling the connection that had sparked between them. Amir listened to her stories with the same attentiveness she remembered, asking questions about her life in Seattle, her work, and even her childhood memories. As they talked, Olivia felt her heart open, her doubts slipping away. With Amir, everything felt natural, as if she had found a missing piece of herself. One afternoon, as they strolled along the edge of the city, exploring the quieter streets filled with small cafes and artisan shops, Amir gently broached the subject Olivia had been avoiding. "You've never mentioned him by name," he said, his tone careful, "but I know there's someone waiting for you back in Seattle." Olivia's steps faltered, and she felt a surge of emotions rise within her. She hadn't planned to speak about Ethan, but now, standing here with Amir, she felt a need to be honest, to lay everything bare. "His name is Ethan," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "We've been together for a long time, but things have changed. Being here, with you, has made me realize that my heart isn't truly with him anymore." Amir listened in silence, his gaze steady and filled with understanding. When she finished, he reached for her hand, holding it gently. "I want you to be certain, Olivia," he said softly. "I don't want you to feel rushed or pressured. Whatever choice you make, I'll support you." His words brought a rush of gratitude and relief. Amir wasn't demanding anything from her. He was simply giving her the space to find her own way, offering her the freedom to choose without fear or hesitation. In that moment, Olivia knew that her heart had already made its choice. She wanted a life with Amir, a life filled with kindness, respect, and shared dreams. With her mind made up, Olivia knew she had to end things with Ethan. It was a painful decision, one she had wrestled with for far too long. Late one evening, after a quiet dinner with Amir, she returned to her hotel and sat down with her phone, staring at Ethan's number for a long moment before pressing call. The conversation was harder than she had anticipated. Ethan's voice was a mixture of disbelief and frustration as he tried to understand her decision. "You're really throwing away everything we built for some vacation fling?" he asked, his tone laced with resentment. "It's not about that," Olivia replied, her voice steady but sad. "This is about me. I've changed, Ethan, and I can't pretend to be someone I'm not anymore. I need a life that's real, one that makes me feel alive." Ethan's silence was heavy, and she could feel the weight of the years they had spent together hanging between them. Finally, he spoke, his voice bitter but resigned. "Fine," he said shortly. "Do what you want." As the call ended, Olivia felt a mixture of sadness and relief. It was the end of a chapter she had once believed would be her forever, but she knew that this decision was right. She had chosen a future that felt true to herself, one where her dreams could flourish. In the days that followed, Olivia allowed herself to embrace her new path fully. She and Amir continued to explore the city together, their connection deepening with every shared moment. Each day felt like a new discovery, a step into a life filled with color, warmth, and purpose. One evening, Amir surprised her with a visit to a local art gallery, a small but vibrant space tucked away in a quiet neighborhood. Olivia marveled at the paintings and sculptures that filled the gallery, each piece a testament to the beauty and creativity that flourished in Dubai. As they wandered through the exhibits, Amir took her hand and pulled her aside to a quiet corner. "Olivia," he said, his voice filled with emotion, "I want us to build a life together. I don't know what the future holds, but I know that I want to share it with you." Olivia felt tears prick at the corners of her eyes, a surge of happiness blooming within her. She reached for his hand, squeezing it tightly. "I want that too," she whispered, her voice choked with emotion. "I want a life where we can dream together, where we can be ourselves." Their embrace felt like a promise, a silent vow that spoke of new beginnings, of a life they would create together, filled with love, purpose, and a sense of adventure. With her decision made, Olivia began to think of ways to make Dubai her home. She had dreamed of building a life that allowed her creativity to flourish, and now, with Amir by her side, she felt that anything was possible. They spent long afternoons discussing their plans, sharing ideas about a small art studio where she could work and exhibit her designs. Amir encouraged her every step of the way, his belief in her talent unwavering. The days blended together, each one filled with joy and quiet moments that made her feel truly seen. She felt a profound sense of peace, knowing that she had chosen a life that reflected her deepest desires. One evening, as they watched the sun set over the city, Amir looked at her with a warmth that made her heart race. "I want you to know," he said, his voice steady, "that whatever challenges we face, I'll be here. We're building something together, something worth fighting for." Olivia smiled, her heart swelling with love and gratitude. She knew that this journey would have its difficulties, that the path ahead would not always be easy. But she also knew that, with Amir by her side, she was ready to face anything. As she settled in her new life in Dubai, Olivia found herself drawn to the art scene, meeting local artists and curators who shared her passion for creativity. Amir introduced her to friends and colleagues, each connection expanding her world and deepening her sense of belonging. She began working with a small group of artists to organize workshops and exhibitions, blending traditional Arab art forms with contemporary designs. It was challenging, exhilarating work that allowed her to express herself fully, and each day felt like a step closer to the life she had always dreamed of. Her relationship with Amir blossomed, their love deepening with each new experience they shared. Together, they explored the city's hidden corners, spent quiet evenings reading poetry, and dreamed of a future filled with art, culture, and shared goals. For the first time, Olivia felt that she was living a life that was truly hers, a life where love, creativity, and purpose intertwined in a beautiful, ever-evolving dance. Olivia had never felt so content. She and Amir had been spending nearly every day together, filling their time with laughter, dreams, and shared plans for the future. Their conversations were filled with ideas for Olivia's art studio, which was set to open in a few months, thanks in large part to Amir's encouragement and support. The studio would be a place where artists from around the world could display their work, a true meeting of cultures and perspectives. To celebrate this new beginning, Amir organized an intimate gathering of friends and family, an evening filled with warmth and laughter. Olivia felt truly at home, surrounded by people who were quickly becoming as dear to her as family. There was a joy in the air, a feeling that this night was a glimpse of the happiness they would share in the years to come. As the evening drew to a close, Amir suggested a quiet drive, just the two of them. He had a surprise planned, he said with a mysterious smile. They bid farewell to their guests and climbed into Amir's car, the air thick with anticipation. They drove through the quiet streets, away from the bustling center of Dubai, toward a secluded spot Amir knew well. The city lights faded behind them as they moved into the open desert, the world around them quiet and still. Olivia felt a deep sense of peace as they drove, watching the stars appear in the vast sky above them. As they reached a small overlook, Amir parked the car and turned to her, his eyes filled with warmth. "I wanted to bring you here," he said, taking her hand, "to share something special with you. This spot is where I've always come to think, to clear my mind. Now it's our place." They sat together in comfortable silence, the desert stretching out before them, timeless and unchanging. Olivia felt as though she could stay here forever, wrapped in the tranquility of the moment and the quiet certainty of their love. But as they made their way back to the city, Olivia noticed something unsettling. In the rearview mirror, a car was following them, its headlights shining too closely behind them. She mentioned it to Amir, her voice laced with a hint of worry. "It's probably just someone heading in the same direction," Amir reassured her, though he kept a cautious eye on the mirror. But the car continued to tail them, its headlights flashing as it accelerated. Olivia felt her heart race, an icy chill settling over her as the vehicle drew closer. And then, in a sudden, horrifying moment, the car rammed into them from behind. The force of the impact sent their car skidding, and Amir struggled to keep control of the wheel. Everything happened in a chaotic blur: lights, sounds, the feeling of weightlessness as they spun. Olivia's hand reached out instinctively, finding Amir's in a desperate attempt to hold on. The second collision was harder, jarring her from her seat as the world seemed to explode around them. She heard herself scream, felt Amir's grip tighten, and then, in an instant, everything went dark. When she came to, she was surrounded by flashing lights and muffled voices. The acrid smell of gasoline filled her nose, and she could hear the distant sound of sirens approaching. Pain shot through her body as she tried to move, her mind struggling to grasp what had happened. "Amir," she whispered, her voice barely audible. But there was no response. Through her blurred vision, she saw rescue workers surrounding the car, their movements frantic as they pulled her from the wreckage. She tried to stay awake, her mind clinging to the hope that Amir would be right beside her, safe and unharmed. But as they lifted her onto a stretcher, she realized he was nowhere to be seen. The hospital was a whirlwind of sterile lights, hushed voices, and the constant beep of machines. Olivia drifted in and out of consciousness, her body racked with pain, her mind filled with a single, desperate question. Where was Amir? Hours passed in a blur of doctors, nurses, and endless tests. When she finally awoke fully, her mother was by her side, her face etched with worry and sadness. "Mom." Olivia's voice was weak, barely a whisper. "Where's Amir? Is he okay?" Her mother's expression faltered, her eyes filling with tears. She took Olivia's hand, squeezing it gently, as if bracing herself for what she had to say. "Oh, honey," her mother choked out, her voice breaking. "I'm so sorry. Amir didn't make it." The words hit her like a physical blow, and Olivia felt the world collapse around her. Her body went numb, the pain of her injuries overshadowed by the agony that tore through her heart. She wanted to scream, to cry, to somehow undo what had happened, but she couldn't move. All she could do was lie there, silent tears slipping down her cheeks as the reality of her loss settled over her like a shroud. The days that followed were a blur of grief and disbelief. Olivia felt as though she were floating through a world that no longer made sense, her heart hollow and aching with every beat. She couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't think beyond the emptiness that Amir's absence had left behind. His family, grieving their own unimaginable loss, became a source of comfort. His mother, a gentle, quiet woman with eyes that mirrored Amir's, visited her daily, holding her hand in silent solidarity. Together, they shared memories of him, small fragments of a life that had been filled with kindness, warmth, and love. But even as she tried to piece together a life without him, Olivia felt a growing sense of unease. Something about the crash didn't feel right, and her mind kept returning to the car that had followed them, the headlights that had seemed so intent on their vehicle. The police began their investigation, but the answers were elusive, the details of the crash murky. Olivia couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to the accident than anyone realized. And as the days passed, her sorrow began to shift, giving way to a simmering determination. She needed to know the truth, not just for herself, but for Amir. As soon as she was able to walk, Olivia reached out to a private investigator named Yasmin, a woman known for her thoroughness and discretion. Yasmin listened carefully as Olivia recounted the events leading up to the crash, her eyes sharp and focused. "You're saying the car seemed to be following you?" Yasmin asked, her voice steady. Olivia nodded, her hands trembling slightly. "Yes. I didn't think much of it at first, but it felt wrong. And then they hit us. It wasn't an accident. I'm sure of it." Yasmin took notes, her expression thoughtful. "We'll start by looking into the other vehicle, tracing any leads we can find. I'll keep you updated on everything." Days turned into weeks as Yasmin uncovered a trail of clues, each one leading them closer to the truth. The car that had hit them had been rented under a fake name, but further investigation revealed connections that pointed back to someone Olivia had never expected: Ethan. The discovery sent a shock through her, memories of her last conversation with Ethan flashing through her mind. Could he have followed her all the way to Dubai, driven by jealousy and resentment? The thought was almost too horrifying to believe, but as Yasmin continued to dig, the evidence began to pile up. With mounting evidence linking Ethan to the crash, Yasmin encouraged Olivia to bring their findings to the police. An official investigation was launched, and an arrest warrant was issued. Ethan was apprehended as he attempted to leave the country, his face a mixture of anger and fear. The trial that followed was grueling, each day filled with painful reminders of the life Olivia had lost. She sat in the courtroom, listening as witnesses testified to Ethan's erratic behavior, his obsessive need to control her, and the lengths he had gone to in order to keep her from building a new life. When Ethan took the stand, his expression was cold, his voice filled with bitterness. He admitted to following her, to orchestrating the crash, but there was no remorse in his words, only a twisted satisfaction that he had been able to take away the happiness she had found. The verdict was swift. Ethan was found guilty, sentenced to prison for his actions. But even as justice was served, Olivia felt no sense of closure. The loss of Amir was a wound that would never fully heal, a void that no punishment could ever fill. In the days following the trial, Olivia returned to the quiet spot in the desert where she and Amir had shared so many dreams. She stood alone, the wind whispering softly around her, and closed her eyes, feeling his presence in the stillness. "Thank you, Amir," she whispered, her voice breaking. "Thank you for everything." She knew she would carry him with her, his memory a guiding light that would give her strength in the years to come. And as she walked away, leaving the desert behind, she felt a renewed sense of purpose. She would honor his life by living fully, by finding joy even in the midst of sorrow. The weeks after the trial were filled with a strange emptiness. Despite the justice she had fought for, Olivia's heart remained heavy. The grief felt endless, an ache that lingered with every passing day. She struggled to find purpose, each morning an uphill battle as she tried to move forward in a world without Amir. Amir's family, still processing their own loss, offered her comfort. His mother visited Olivia often, bringing small meals and spending long hours in quiet companionship. Their shared memories of Amir created a bond, a silent understanding that allowed them both to grieve in their own way. But as the days passed, Olivia knew she needed to do more than simply exist. She had promised herself that she would honor Amir's memory, to carry forward the kindness and inspiration he had brought into her life. And so, with a tentative but determined heart, she began to make plans. One evening, as she sorted through the sketches and paintings she had worked on over the years, an idea took shape. She would create a foundation in Amir's honor, one that would support artists from all walks of life and promote cultural exchange, a place where art could bring people together, just as Amir had once brought her closer to herself. The idea of the foundation became a source of strength for Olivia, giving her days a purpose she had been missing. She reached out to friends, to members of Amir's family, and to local artists, gathering support and building momentum for her vision. Amir's mother was thrilled by the idea, her eyes lighting up when Olivia explained her plans. "He would have loved this," she said softly, taking Olivia's hand. "You're giving his spirit away to continue through the lives you'll touch." With renewed energy, Olivia threw herself into the work. She partnered with local galleries and cultural organizations, organizing small exhibitions and workshops. She spent long hours meeting with artists, learning their stories, and offering them a platform to share their work. Each event, each connection, felt like a step toward healing, a way of channeling her grief into something beautiful. The foundation soon became a gathering place for artists from around the world. They shared their stories, their struggles, and their dreams, and Olivia found solace in the community she was building. She could feel Amir's presence in each project, his memory woven into the fabric of the foundation's mission. Months passed, and slowly, Olivia began to feel a shift within herself. The pain of loss was still there, but it was no longer all-consuming. The work with the foundation filled her days, giving her a sense of purpose that lifted her spirits. She organized art showcases, cultural exchanges, and workshops for young artists, each event a tribute to Amir's legacy. One evening, as she prepared for an exhibition, she received a call from Liam, an old friend who had recently moved to Dubai. Liam was an artist himself, known for his landscape photography, and he was curious about the foundation. "I've heard so much about what you're doing, Olivia," he said, his voice warm. "It sounds incredible. I'd love to help in any way I can." Liam's support brought a new energy to the foundation. Together, they organized events and brainstormed new ideas, their shared passion for art creating a natural partnership. Olivia found comfort in his friendship, a steady presence that allowed her to breathe a little easier. Over time, their connection deepened, built on mutual respect and a shared purpose. Liam's quiet understanding and kindness reminded her of Amir, though their relationship was something different, something healing in its own way. The anniversary of Amir's death approached, stirring memories Olivia had tucked away. She wanted to mark the day in a meaningful way, to honor his life with something beautiful. After careful thought, she decided to organize a special exhibit at the foundation, one that would showcase art dedicated to love, loss, and resilience. The event drew artists from around the city, each piece a testament to the strength of the human spirit. As Olivia walked through the gallery, she felt a profound sense of peace. The room was filled with people who had come to celebrate Amir's life, to remember him not with sorrow, but with gratitude. Liam joined her by the small memorial she had created for Amir, a wall of photographs and artwork that captured the joy and inspiration he had brought into the world. He placed a hand on her shoulder, his gaze warm and steady. "You've done something remarkable here, Olivia," he said, his voice filled with admiration. This is exactly what he would have wanted. Olivia smiled through her tears, feeling a bittersweet mix of sadness and pride. "Thank you, Liam," she whispered, "for everything." The event brought a sense of closure, a feeling that she had honored Amir's memory in a way that was both true and healing. She knew she would carry him with her always, his spirit a part of every project, every decision, every dream she pursued. The foundation continued to grow, its reach expanding as Olivia and Liam worked tirelessly to promote its mission. They traveled together, meeting artists from around the world and building partnerships that brought new perspectives to the foundation's work. Each trip, each new project deepened their bond, filling Olivia's heart with gratitude. Over time, her relationship with Liam blossomed into something more. He was patient and kind, giving her space to grieve and to heal, never rushing her toward a future she wasn't ready for. His friendship became a source of comfort, and eventually, her heart began to open, allowing her to feel something new and unexpected. One evening, as they watched the sunset over the city, Liam reached for her hand. His touch was gentle, grounding, and Olivia felt a warmth spread through her. "Olivia," he said softly, "I know you'll always carry Amir with you, but I want you to know that I'm here, too, for as long as you want me to be." His words filled her with a sense of peace, and she realized that love could exist in many forms. Amir's memory would always be with her, but she had room in her heart for new beginnings, for a life that honored the past while embracing the present. She took Liam's hand, her heart steady. "Thank you," she whispered, feeling a quiet happiness settle within her, "for giving me hope." The foundation's work continued to flourish, and soon, Olivia and Liam began planning new initiatives to expand its impact. They created scholarships for young artists, organized traveling exhibits, and built a community of people united by a shared love for art and cultural understanding. One evening, they hosted an event that showcased the work of emerging artists from around the world. The gallery was filled with people, each piece telling a unique story of resilience and hope. Olivia stood by the entrance, greeting guests and watching as her vision came to life. As the evening wore on, she took a quiet moment to reflect, her heart filled with gratitude. She knew that her journey had been shaped by both love and loss, each experience leading her to a deeper understanding of herself and the world around her. Standing beside Liam, she felt a sense of wholeness she hadn't known before. Her life was a testament to the power of resilience, to the strength of the human spirit, and to the healing that could be found in connection and purpose. On the second anniversary of Amir's passing, Olivia visited his favorite spot in the desert, a place where they had once shared their dreams under a starlit sky. She brought with her a small bouquet of flowers, a quiet offering of gratitude and remembrance. She stood in silence, the vastness of the desert stretching out before her, and closed her eyes, feeling Amir's presence in the gentle breeze. She spoke softly, her voice carried away by the wind. "I promise to honor your memory," she whispered, "and I will, for as long as I live." With one last glance at the stars above, Olivia turned to leave, her heart lighter than it had been in years. She knew that Amir's spirit would always be with her, a guiding light that would give her strength and peace. As she made her way back to the city, Olivia felt a profound sense of renewal, a quiet joy that filled every corner of her being. She was ready for whatever the future held, knowing that her journey would continue to be one of love, resilience, and purpose. Months passed, and the foundation Olivia had built in Amir's honor continued to flourish. What had once been a simple vision had grown into a vibrant community, a safe haven for artists from around the world, each one bringing their unique stories and dreams. Olivia felt a deep sense of fulfillment watching the artists thrive, their work bridging cultural divides and inspiring others. With each new project, Olivia felt Amir's presence more strongly. She knew that he would have been proud, that he would have supported every effort she made to create a legacy that celebrated love, resilience, and understanding. Her partnership with Liam deepened too. Together, they traveled to different countries, meeting artists and collaborators, expanding the foundation's reach. Each journey was an adventure, a testament to how far she had come, and Liam was a steady, loving presence by her side. One evening, after a particularly successful exhibition in Paris, Liam took her hand as they strolled along the Seine River. The city lights reflected in the water, casting a warm glow over the scene. "I think Amir would be proud of what you've built here," he said softly, his voice filled with warmth. Olivia smiled, feeling a pang of bittersweet joy. "I hope so," she replied. "Everything I've done to honor him. But it's also for us for the future we're building together." Liam's fingers intertwined with hers, a silent promise that filled her with hope and certainty. As the foundation grew, Olivia and Liam found their lives increasingly intertwined. They spent long nights brainstorming, planning events, and talking about the future, their dreams merging into one cohesive vision. They wanted to build a lasting legacy, something that would continue to impact people long after they were gone. Their relationship blossomed naturally, without rush or hesitation. Liam understood Olivia's journey, the weight of her grief, and the strength she had found through her pain. He supported her in every way, respecting her past while sharing in her present. One afternoon, as they worked on plans for a scholarship program, Liam paused, looking at her with a gentle smile. "You know, I never expected to find someone who understood my passion for art and community like you do," he said. "Being with you, working on this together, it feels like coming home." Olivia's heart swelled with warmth. She realized that, after all the heartbreak and healing, she had found a new kind of happiness. Her love for Liam was different from what she had shared with Amir, but it was just as real, just as profound. She had room in her heart for both memories and new beginnings, and she knew that this was the life she was meant to live. As the second anniversary of Amir's passing approached, Olivia planned a special event at the foundation to celebrate his memory. She wanted it to be a gathering of friends, family, and artists, a day of remembrance and gratitude, filled with the beauty Amir had inspired. The event was a success, with guests from around the world coming to share stories, view the art, and honor Amir's legacy. The gallery was filled with laughter, warmth, and the vibrant energy of people who had been touched by Amir's life and Olivia's work. At the end of the night, Olivia took a moment to stand before Amir's memorial, a quiet tribute she had created at the heart of the foundation. She placed a single rose on the table beside his photo, her heart full of both love and peace. "You'll always be with me," she whispered, feeling a deep sense of closure. "Thank you for everything." As she turned away, she found Liam waiting for her, his gaze filled with understanding. He took her hand, pulling her into a gentle embrace. "You've created something truly beautiful, Olivia," he murmured, "and I'm honored to be a part of it." Her heart swelled with gratitude, and in that moment, she felt a sense of completeness she hadn't known was possible. She knew that she could carry Amir's memory forward while embracing the life she had built with Liam, a life rooted in purpose, love, and resilience. In the months that followed, Olivia and Liam continued to expand the foundation's mission, reaching out to underserved communities and giving young artists a chance to share their voices. The work was challenging but fulfilling, each new initiative bringing them closer to their goal of creating a lasting impact. One evening, as they watched the sunset from their rooftop, Liam took her hand, his expression thoughtful. "Olivia," he began, "I want to spend my life with you. I know that our journey hasn't been easy, but I wouldn't change a thing." Her heart skipped a beat, a mixture of joy and emotion filling her. She felt the weight of everything they had been through, every moment that had brought them to this point. "I want that too," she whispered, her voice filled with certainty. "With you, I feel like I'm finally where I'm meant to be." They embraced under the setting sun, their love a quiet but powerful force that carried them forward. Olivia knew that her path had been shaped by loss and resilience, but it was also filled with hope, a hope that would guide her as she continued to honor Amir's memory while creating a future with Liam. Years passed, and Olivia's foundation grew into an internationally recognized organization. Her dream of creating a community that celebrated art, diversity, and resilience had become a reality, touching lives across borders and inspiring others to pursue their passions. Liam was by her side every step of the way, their relationship a steady, enduring partnership built on mutual respect and shared purpose. They traveled the world together, supporting artists and expanding the foundation's reach, each new project a testament to the love and dedication they shared. Their life was filled with joy, adventure, and a sense of fulfillment that ran deeper than Olivia had ever imagined. She knew that Amir's spirit was with her, a guiding light that had brought her to this place of peace and contentment. On the 10th anniversary of the foundation's opening, Olivia organized a grand event to celebrate its achievements and honor its roots. She invited artists, supporters, and friends from around the world, each one a part of the foundation's journey. During her speech, Olivia spoke about the inspiration behind the foundation, about Amir and the love that had shaped her life in ways she would always cherish. She shared her journey of healing, resilience, and purpose, her words resonating with those who had walked similar paths. As she finished her speech, she looked out over the crowd, her heart filled with gratitude. She knew that her life had been shaped by both love and loss, but it was a life she wouldn't trade for anything. She had found her purpose, her happiness, and a love that honored both the past and the future. Liam joined her on stage, taking her hand as the audience applauded. They stood together, a testament to the power of resilience, hope, and the unbreakable bonds that connect us all. Years later, Olivia sat in her art studio, surrounded by sketches, paintings, and photographs that told the story of her life's journey. The foundation had become a lasting legacy, a tribute to the people she had loved and the dreams she had pursued. As she looked out over the city, a quiet sense of peace settled over her. She had lived a life filled with love, purpose, and resilience, a life that had brought her joy and fulfillment, even through the hardest moments. And as the sun set over the desert, casting a warm glow over the city, Olivia closed her eyes, feeling the presence of those she had loved, both near and far. She knew that she would carry their memories with her always, their spirits a part of her journey. Her life was a testament to the power of love, to the strength found in healing, and to the beauty of a world filled with endless possibilities. And as she looked toward the future, she knew that her story, her legacy, was one of hope, courage, and the quiet, enduring strength of a heart that had loved well. Thank you so much for following Olivia's inspiring journey. If this story touched your heart or brought you hope, please give this video a thumbs up, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more stories of strength, love, and resilience. Leave us a comment below. What did you find most inspiring about Olivia's journey? And stay tuned for our next story, where we explore more lives shaped by hope and transformation. Thank you for being here, and we look forward to sharing more with you soon.